Women often move through life with certain expectations about love and partnership that society has carefully constructed for them. From childhood, there are whispered promises about what romance should feel like, what kind of person will complete them, what butterflies and passion and excitement should define every moment. These narratives become the lens through which relationships are evaluated, and sometimes in that evaluation, the steady presence of genuine care becomes nearly invisible against the backdrop of dramatic expectations. The psychology of taking someone for granted begins not with malice, but with familiarity. When a partner shows up consistently, when reliability becomes the foundation rather than the exception, the human brain does something peculiar. It stops registering these acts as special. The morning coffee made without asking, the patience during difficult moments, the quiet support that never demands recognition, all of these become background noise in the symphony of daily life. The mind adapts to goodness the same way eyes adjust to light, and what once seemed remarkable becomes simply expected. Women are often socialized to seek intensity in relationships, to equate love with grand gestures and emotional peaks. The cultural messaging runs deep through romantic comedies, novels, social media portrayals, and conversations with friends. There is an unspoken belief that if a relationship feels too comfortable, too easy, too stable, then perhaps something is missing. Perhaps the spark has faded. Perhaps this is settling rather than choosing. This framework creates a dangerous blindness to the profound value of someone who offers consistency, emotional maturity, and genuine partnership without the chaos that society often mistakes for passion. The realization typically arrives in stages, and it rarely comes when convenient. It might begin with a small moment after a separation when she reaches for her phone to share something funny and remembers that particular person is no longer the one to call. Or perhaps it surfaces when facing a challenge alone that would have been easily navigated with that steady support system. The absence creates space where presence once existed, and suddenly that space feels enormous. Sometimes the awakening comes through contrast. New connections might bring excitement initially, but they often lack the depth that was built over time through shared experiences, inside jokes, and weathered storms together. Surface level attraction without foundational compatibility becomes exhausting. The person who seemed boring in retrospect was actually someone who had moved beyond the performance stage of relationships into authentic partnership. That authenticity, once dismissed as lack of excitement, reveals itself as rare and precious. Female psychology around relationships is complex and often contradictory because women receive mixed messages throughout their lives. They are told to be independent, yet also to find completion in partnership. They are encouraged to have standards while being warned against being too picky. They are taught that good partners should be chosen with the head, while the heart insists on feelings that defy logic. In this confusion, qualities like kindness, stability, and consistent effort can be undervalued in favor of chemistry that burns bright but unsustainably. The taking for granted also stems from a psychological phenomenon where people overestimate their options and underestimate what they currently have. Dating culture, especially in the digital age, creates an illusion of infinite possibilities. There is always someone else to meet, another profile to swipe, another potential connection waiting. This abundance mindset makes it difficult to fully invest in and appreciate what is already present. The fear of missing out extends beyond social events into romantic choices, creating a restlessness that prevents deep appreciation. When realization finally arrives, it often brings a cascade of other insights. She might recognize patterns in her own behavior, seeing how she withdrew emotionally when things felt too secure, or how she created problems where none existed because conflict felt more familiar than peace. She might understand that she was chasing a feeling rather than building a life, seeking validation through romantic turbulence rather than accepting the quiet confidence of being genuinely valued. The grief that accompanies this awareness is multi-layered. There is sadness for the loss itself, but also regret for time wasted in ambivalence, for moments of appreciation left unexpressed, for the way someone was made to feel insufficient when they were actually offering something profound. This regret becomes a harsh teacher, one that instructs through the painful clarity of hindsight. Psychologically, women often process relationships through extensive analysis and conversation with trusted friends. In these processing sessions after a separation, patterns emerge. Friends might gently point out what they observed, how that person consistently showed up in ways that others did not, how the complaints voiced during the relationship were often about the absence of problems rather than the presence of them. Hearing external perspectives can catalyze recognition of what was truly there beneath the surface of everyday routine. The realization also connects to self-worth and identity. Sometimes taking someone for granted is actually about not believing one deserves someone who treats them well. If a woman has internalized messages that she must earn love through drama, fixing, or pursuing, then a partner who simply offers love freely can feel suspect. The ease of it contradicts learned narratives about what love requires. Only after the relationship ends might she understand that love does not have to be difficult to be real, that partnership can be a source of peace rather than constant work. Maturity plays a significant role in this awakening. As women age and gain life experience, priorities naturally shift. The qualities that seemed boring at 25 become attractive at 35. Emotional stability, reliability, shared values, and genuine kindness move from the background to the foreground of what matters in choosing a life partner. This shift in values creates retrospective appreciation for someone who embodied these qualities all along. The process of realization is also tied to personal growth and self-awareness. Many women report that losing someone who truly cared for them became a catalyst for examining their own attachment patterns, their relationship with vulnerability, their fears around intimacy and commitment. The space left by that person becomes a mirror reflecting back behaviors and beliefs that previously went unexamined. Social comparison intensifies the recognition of value lost. Watching that person move forward, perhaps building a happy life with someone else, crystallizes what was available but not fully appreciated. Seeing someone else recognize and cherish the qualities that were taken for granted creates a sharp ache of missed opportunity. This is not about jealousy in a petty sense, but rather a profound understanding of what was possible but not actualized. The journey from taking someone for granted to realizing their value is ultimately a journey of growth, though it arrives through loss. It teaches that love is not just a feeling to be chased, but a choice to be made daily, that the most valuable partners are often those who make life easier rather than more complicated, and that sometimes the greatest romance is found not in intensity, but in the quiet certainty of being truly known and still wholly accepted.